to.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully we can hear. I'm very proud to be able to be taking part in our next Behind the Hub today, and I'm going to quickly share my screen in just 1 second. Okay, everyone. So my name is Eric Murphy. I'm Principal Consultant, co-founder and director here at BabelQuest. We are a HubSpot Elite partner, but you all know that. What we're going to talk about today is a methodology that we use when we're thinking about AI and how we're training it, called Data, Insight, Action, and Outcome. And this is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. There are questions available in the panel. So I'm going to take a quick, we're going to run through the methodology itself. I'm going to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. And then I'm going to take an example of each of the 4 stages in there, and then follow up with a real world example towards the end. And then if there are questions that come up as we go along, then I'll pick up and handle those as we go, and then we'll wrap up with a few closing thoughts and some hopefully useful and inspiring tips for you to take away and start using yourself. So, everybody all okay? All ready to go? So, the first thing I want to talk about here is whether you need to be an AI expert or not. I think the first thing we need to do is really aim at being AI literate. So, our job is to get AI literate, to use it, to play with it and understand it, so we can make it better understand what we want from it, from AI itself. So don't worry about becoming an expert, because unless you've been in the field of machine learning, artificial intelligence for the last 20 years, you probably can't claim to be one. And the most expert thing in the room is the AI itself. So we need to look at that HubSpot AI is here already. AI is being used day to day in many of the tools that we're using in all kinds of walks of life. And it's the future of how the HubSpot platform will develop, and all other systems you use will also be going in that same direction, or they'll be wiped out. It'll disappear into the walls faster than the previous rounds of technology disruption did, faster than things like the spread of smartphones and the mobile web, faster than the spread of social media. It's already disappearing into the background, and we're using it without thinking about it. So many of us are already using things like ChatGPT and DALL-E, and we're all in awe at the speed that this generative AI can create written content and images, but we maybe aren't paying any attention to the speed that it can do analysis or that it can write code. I heard from HubSpot last week from Shay Redmonds, who was one of the senior VPs in product. He put the number 50,000 up on the screen and asked us, what's that? And some wag who was with me said, hey, that's the amount of product updates you did last year. And he said, no, it's close. It's the amount of product updates we did yesterday. So HubSpot's able to push out 50,000 updates to its code every single day because the AI is writing the code that quickly. And the impact of this means that the future is here already, but it's distributing itself more rapidly than anything we've ever seen before. So what I'm going to look at today in particular, how this methodology works, is really best to use it within the analytics side of things. So I'm not going to talk about things like the ChatGPT tools or the HubSpot tools. I'm really think about how you should approach these things. There's plenty of information out there on the tools themselves, and going to the vendors is the right place to start with those. So if we talk about the methodology, how you get the best out of them now and as you scale for the future, it's best to think about the analytics for these examples, because unless you're already a data scientist, analytics is probably the least sexy part of AI, but it's the best area to think about as we go through this methodology today. So I'm going to talk about an example on each, and some specific examples of how we use it in our business. Then we'll address any questions as we come along. So do feel free to throw questions in the chat as we go along. So first up, data. If you're going to use AI in your business, it needs data. Your data needs to be well structured. You need to be able to segment it. You also need to know how accurate it is. If you've got a lot of inaccurate data, you need to begin resolving that now. So I have a tip for you. Rather than exporting your data into a CSV file and then painstakingly updating it manually, look for how the inaccurate data got in there in the first place. So if you think about your data as a data set, right? We're thinking about a data set that's been created and programmed by your business. So it's been created by the rules you've set for your business, and that's what your data that is the way that it is because your business rules created it that way. And if you don't address the rules, the data that you extract, transform, and then load back into your systems will slowly get overwritten back into the dreadful state it is now. Now, for those rules that you can't change, there are plenty of AI rules for cleaning your data on the fly, so long as you can teach the AI the rules for cleaning it. And this can be as simple as initializing first and last name, creating validation rules for fields like phone numbers, flagging incomplete records to the record owner for human interaction tasks. There's a whole load of steps that you can dig into here, and there's more sessions that we're doing from behind the hub and available through on our site from our team here to help you get to the details of those. But the first goal of this is to be able to get your data trustworthy. And if it can be segmented easily, you can then move on to the next step, which is the insight. So think of this step as the questions you want answered by your data. Like, how much money have you made? And how much are we going to make next? How close to target are we? What opportunities are there for us to double down if we're behind? How do we create more deals? What sources of leads are most likely to improve from more time or more money invested? Or what drives delighted customers to spend more and recommend us to others? Think about, how do I get better at predicting our future performance? Because all of these things are possible to us right now. We just never have the time to do them. Or we're spending so much time dealing with different spreadsheets and pulling things together to try to understand what those rules are that we just never get around to doing it. So if you can focus in working out what kind of questions you want to ask your data set and let the AI run away and do all the work for you, you can then move to the next step. So we've got data and insight, and now we're going to move through to action. So taking action is thinking about what are the activities we can take based on the insight that we've just got. So insight and action together are sometimes referred to as ITTT, as in if this, then that. For example, if someone signals their intent to buy from you, phone them. If someone gives you a 10 out of 10 NPS score, don't just think, oh, that's nice. Follow up with something that encourages them to recommend you. Or if somebody raises a concern or a complaint, how can you take action to resolve it and increase their chance of being delighted with you as a result? So all of these activities that you can take, whether that's phoning people, emailing them, reaching out over social, engaging with them in some manner, something that the AI is beginning to get you into the same room as these people to be able to take that activity. So in short, with these activities, what we want to be doing with them is having an eye on the outcome that you want. You want to make sure all of these steps in the methodology are in the same platform. So your data, your insight, your actions, and your outcomes are all in the same place. That way, then the AI can see them and understand them in relation to each other. And it can then do the heavy lifting work to predict your future performance. So I've got an example for this. We've recently looked at our forecast for the next 6 months, and we wanted to ask it some questions, and we wanted to dig into the AI sales analytics tools in HubSpot to see what it could help us do. So the outcome that we were after was, have we got confidence that we'll hit our year-end revenue goal? If we're going to increase that revenue goal, what confidence can we say with that we're going to be able to do it? So Becky R&D came to me with that question, said, how do we do that stuff? So when we then started looking at where all of our data and information was, and we looked at our deal pipeline, for example, we wanted to see what was going on in the deal pipeline, what leads were contributing to creating deals, what sales rep activity was happening. And we spotted that because our deal velocity, based on the vast majority of the deals that we work on, we got a deal velocity in under 6 weeks. Some larger ones may take longer, but the ones that make up the majority of our pipeline are on that kind of 6-week timescale. So our deal pipeline only has a window of 6 weeks, really, performance. There may be other outliers in there, but the majority of that is going to be in that window. So given that we're trying to create a prediction based on the next 6 months, where do we get the rest of the data from? So the step before that looks then at the prospecting tools, which we are now using in HubSpot with all of their new AI in there. And that's showing me that we didn't have enough prospecting going or leads going on to be able to generate the kind of deals we need in any kind of confident manner moving forward. So we took the decision to increase some investments in that area, generate more leads. We brought some intent data in, we put some more resources into our marketing teams, and we changed some of our qualification criteria to be able to increase that the prospecting side of things. Even then, our prospecting gives us about a 4 to 6 week window as well. So we still need to then to look at what do we need to be able to fill the rest of the gap over 6 months, and then look at have we got the right sales capacity? Do we need to increase the size of our sales team? Do we need to find ways to be able to improve the levels of activity? Do we need to change the quotas in there? So we started to look at what we have historically, and when we started to put all of this information together, the AI could tell us with confidence what the probability of us hitting those numbers were based on what we currently did. And we realized we needed to increase, if we're going to increase the top number, we need to increase our sales capacity. We need to increase the work that we were doing in prospecting. That would generate the additional work within the deal pipeline without having to change anything in terms of average deal size or the deal velocity itself, or those conversion rates from start to end in there. We'd be able to hit that number provided that we did things earlier in the funnel. So key takeaways I wanted to be able to bring into this is it's important for you to start with the outcome in mind. Think about what it is that you want the AI to do, and try to break that down to some goals, so that when you start looking at the activities that you're going to take in order to reach those goals, they're based on insights and they're based onto the questions and the answers that you're getting from your reporting. But the core at the start of this is making sure that the foundation with data is right. AIs use machine learning and other methods to be able to predict future performance, but they're only as good as the data that is in there. So making sure that your data is in good shape right now, and avoid the kind of knee-jerk reaction to go and extract it all, fix it and put it back without looking at the rules, because those rules that define your data and the rules that you use to clean that data are important things for the AI to understand as well. The next step we recommend in here is making sure that everything is in the same platform, or you're going to spend time stitching it together instead of AI doing it for you. Now, we've been guilty of this. We run HubSpot CRM Suite Enterprise, but we did have other tools that we're using for things that weren't necessarily connected in the right way. And whilst HubSpot added more functionality, we switched some of those off and started using the core functionality, or we've integrated them to make sure the data is in the same place. The next part is really about this element of expertise. There's so much in the fields of working in CRM and marketing and sales and service, where as the providers of services on these, we have to present ourselves as being experts, and being an expert in AI is notoriously it's difficult, and it's probably false, and it's probably not the kind of thing that we really want to be presenting ourselves as. Or for you doing these roles, you need to get clear that there's lots and lots of optimization and trial and error here, and it's moving so quickly and at such a pace that maintaining up to date and experts in it is just probably impossible. So becoming AI literate is far more important, and to do that, you need to test it and play with it and optimize it until it's right for you, and then keep on watching and asking it ever better questions. So last point, don't worry about being an expert on this, and and focus more on your on literacy. Okay, so there's some examples of one thing I want to point out here, as we come to a close on it, is that there's lots of people who are fearful of taking steps with AI. And let me take my screen share down a second. Because it's new, because it's scary, and because it moves very quickly, and there's lots of people who could be deemed to be experts. And are we up to speed with those? And can we use it practically? And what about the error rates on these things? Should we trust it? If we can generate content that that we know is giving us false information? Or what about the analytics as well? Well, I think um, there's a few things to consider and look at here, where it's not going away for a start. It's already the HubSpot AI tools that have just been announced. Many of them have been running for years. Most of the sales analytics tools have actually been live in HubSpot for quite some time. And the thing to spot is the speed that these things are starting to generate and improve. So, for example, we've had automatic transcription appearing in different tools like Zoom and Google Meet and Teams and HubSpot, obviously, over the last few years. And the results are a bit dodgy. If you read them through, I've often referred to as it's almost like a Monty Python script generator for basically what you're saying. It's got all of the right kind of lots of the right words, sometimes in the wrong order, sometimes the pulling up some funny things in there. So I've also got a bit of a funny accent. So the AI often picks up the transcripts. All of my calls start with something like, "Hi, it's Alice from Bible class." And pretty much every sentence has errors in it. But then about a month ago, summaries turned up in a tool that we use called Crisp. I'm actually using it right now. It's a noise cancelling app that's tuned to my voice, so you shouldn't be able to hear traffic. And we've got builders in the building at the minute, so you shouldn't be able to hear any of that because it's tuning that out. But it builds a transcript as it goes, and it then created a summary version of it, which was a bit mind blowing because it could take an hour-long discovery call and generate 4 short paragraphs of all the talking points, who said them, and who was taking the actions out of it. So the follow-up back off those emails, which typically would take an hour or just wouldn't happen, was now being done within a minute. But that tool then appeared in HubSpot, and it appeared in Zoom, and appeared in everything else that we're using literally within about 2 weeks. So as people are seeing that there's more of these extra features being put in, one thing a key to say about this summary stuff, even though it was reading the transcript that was full of errors, the error rate in the actual summary section was probably less than 10%, and it wasn't picking up the wrong words and misspellings or anything. It was sometimes just assigning the action to the wrong person. But these things are getting better and better all the time. But it's not just looking at, has the transcript quality improved over time? Well, AI has just been used at another level to be able to clean it up for us rather than trying to interpret what's going on. So the speed of these things coming out, that because that code can now be written within hours compared to months before, these tools are going to start getting more and more useful, and they're going to start spreading everywhere. So if we're not AI literate, we don't understand how to use them, we're going to get taken aback. Great example from the Inbound conference, Yamini Rangan, the CEO of HubSpot, said that within a year, probably even less, we won't tolerate poor service from any of our any companies that we work with. If we take the view that you've got all of my personal data and you've got AI, it's not acceptable to be slow on this. You have to answer me immediately right now. There's no point waiting for that to happen in a year's time to see what happens, because people won't tolerate straight away. Imagine now if your bank said, "We don't really think the mobile app is a future for us, we're going to take it down." Like, if the mobile app was important to you, you're not going to go revert into a branch. You will just move your account today, straight away. So that kind of thing's going to start disrupting business really, really quickly. And for those people who are saying that, well, is it really going to move that quick, or I'm not going to do those kind of things? There's a point of the adoption, we won't even notice it happening. So just an example, who has their card details saved in their phone? Not so long ago, I can remember that I'd be really reluctant to actually put my card details into a web form to be able to buy something in e-commerce. Only through more and more usage of it have we got more comfortable with that. But even in those stages where I can remember using a credit card rather than the debit card because it was more secure, and then to the point of, remember the days when your bank didn't even know the PIN number for your card? Who's put their security code for their card into their Apple Wallet or into their browser? So right now, you've given your card details and every way to access your accounts to some of the biggest retailers on the planet, who then have access to everybody else to spend your money. So our adoption of this new technology, if it helps us, will break down even some of the most secure private things that we have about us in order to get access to this stuff. So don't imagine at all this is going to go away, or it's not going to get adopted. It's already been adopted and it's already here. So just to kind of sum up on this talk, and I hope it's been useful and insightful, really trying to share a methodology here to think about how to work with AI. Start with the outcome in mind. Make sure your data is clear. Make sure that you've got good questions to ask of your data to get the insight right. When you get that insight, do something with it. Take that activity and make sure it's been logged in that same system of record, and make sure the system of record also knows what the end goal outcome is. And then the AI will be able to start making those predictions for you and doing that future forecasting that'll help you get better at what you do. That's all from me. Thanks very much for joining. It's been Behind the Hub, and I'll hang on for a couple of questions. And if you're watching this and catch up, do get in touch if there's anything here has sparked any questions with you.